Trautman. Thank you very much for coming this evening and allowing me to speak before you.
Awesome.
I have been involved in the DAA for many years and Democratic Club. When I moved out here in '93, it was '94 when the Republicans took control of Congress, and I said, that's it, I got to get involved here locally. I've been involved elsewhere, but not so much as here. Then I started writing a column for the Signal. I got very involved in that club, and then later served as president of this club from '97 to '99. I was also serving as president of my local unit, PTA, and I've been very involved in PTA and schools for now 13 years. Put 2 children through the school systems here, and I work very hard to promote education and schools in our community. I've also run for city council before. I ran in 2000, and I came in a very strong fourth, and that was without a lot of name recognition. That, as Bruce has told you, the Republicans are very good at building that name recognition for their candidates. And I came in a strong fourth. So I think that I have a very good shot at office this time, and I think this is a crucial time to run. There are a couple of things that spurred this on, okay, that provoked me into running this time. One is that I've served on the Planning Commission for the past 5 years, and I've dealt with a lot of the issues that people say are of concern. I've dealt with them, though, from a quasi-judiciary standpoint, meaning that we've compared the applications that have come before us to city codes and policies to the general plan. We've had to review them from that perspective, but we haven't had an opportunity to act on policy. Although I would say as a commissioner, I have recommended policy to the city council. Sometimes it's been taken under advisement and sometimes not. It's been ignored. But now I feel that this is a time that we need to seize, because we're at a turning point in this community. We have a lot coming before us with growth, and we have to make some big decisions, and we need to be looking toward the future. The other thing that provoked this is that I had people coming to me, which was very unusual. When I ran before in 2000, I had people saying to me, well, but are you a... And I'd have to say, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Because I'm not about to switch. I know that people do that here to promote themselves, but I'm not about to do that. And this time, no one asked. No one asked that. I've had people coming up to me and saying, I like what you stand for. I like how you conduct yourself on the Planning Commission. I like the questions you ask. I like the fact that you build support for the things that you believe in. And you stand up for those, and you don't back down. So I'm very happy about that. I think that that's a good turning point here. And I think that people are starting to realize that we do have some major issues, and we don't have a lot of vision coming from our city council. We need to be looking well into the future. Now, I don't know if anybody's had a chance to read the book. Jared Diamond wrote a wonderful book called Collapse: How Societies Choose to Fail or Succeed. And in that, he says that there are 2 types of choices that we must make if we are to succeed. First, he says we must have the courage to practice long-term thinking and make bold, courageous, anticipatory decisions at a time when problems have become perceptible, but before they've reached crisis proportions. The second involves the courage to make painful decisions about values. Which of the values that formerly served society well can continue to be maintained under new, changed circumstances? I think we need to stop and say, what do we truly value here? One of the things Maria said is true. There's a sense that we have to get the latest, greatest thing. We have to have, everything, every neighborhood looking perfectly spiffed up. Everything has to be perfect. We need to gentrify. We need to bring in wonderful events. Now, we all love living here because we have some of those things, but is that where we need to focus solely? I think a lot of times how we look takes a position over how we function. Are we here to serve the people? Right. And we need to find ways to do that. Are we serving the people with our choices in housing? Are we really looking to the future? Are we going to build housing for our kids? My son, my older son Jeff, is 20 years old this December, the same month in which the city turns 20. And he's got a lot of choices before him. He has to look hard into the future. He has to be careful where he steps, how he moves. He needs to position himself, and he needs to be looking forward. And this city needs to be doing the same thing. We're not a small bird anymore, and we are going to grow. And that's inevitable, and we're probably all going to have to change with that. But what are our values? One of the things I've heard on the Planning Commission is, well, you know, people like to have their single-family homes. People like to drive their cars. I would like to own a forest green metallic Jaguar with beige leather interior.
Yeah.
I can't afford it. I can't afford the maintenance. I can't afford the gas, and I wouldn't buy a gas guzzler. We have to look at what is truly important. We have to be willing, for instance, if we want to have affordable housing, if we want to have a place for our children to live, to start out in our community, we have to set that in motion now, instead of saying, well, you know, we can't really do anything about it. It's out of our hands. I think we need things like a housing authority. I think we need to look at that in the future. Maybe we are not there yet, but we have to get there. And where are we going to be? Are we going to look forward and say that's where we need to be 10 years from now, 15 years from now? We need to plot that out and set the wheels in motion to get there. Traffic. We know that that's going to be, all of these issues, by the way, are issues that every candidate is going to tell you are important. I've been dealing with them. I have been dealing with them, and the funny thing too is that I have gained consensus. When I first started on the Planning Commission, there was this attitude of the other commissioners sitting there going, what is she going to do? What is she going to say? Is she going to, you know, start ranting or something? Was this sort of attitude. And over time, because I have done my homework, because I have educated myself, not just about what comes before me in staff reports that are like this or like this. I've educated myself beyond that. I read the newspaper, I follow what the trends are, I find out what the state is doing, what the county is doing, what the city of Los Angeles is doing that's having an impact on us. I read about planning. When other people are watching movies or Oprah or something like that, I'm reading Curtin's Land Use Planning and Law. I'm reading Suburban Nation. I'm trying to find out what really good planners do to create good communities. I want to look outside of where we are and find good examples and try to tailor those things. I think we can learn, and maybe we can create something entirely new from looking at all of those examples. But where we are now, where, as I started to tell you about the Planning Commission, and they're being very distanced, I think from me. And there was a point at which, you know, they really were sort of pushing me aside. But I'll tell you now that when we have discussions and I say, I think we need to have this, I want to have an answer to that, at least 3 out of 4 turn to me and say, yeah, we agree with Diane, because I do my homework. I only have a little bit more time. I do want to hear your questions too. Transportation is important. We need to talk about mass transit in a really serious way. We're going to have to make that. And it may mean that we don't sit here and say, okay, we're going to wait until the state tells us we can do this, or we're going to wait for money. We need to work with League of California Cities. We need to build that support. That's right. Safety is an issue. It's not just a law enforcement issue, it's how you plan. How do you plan a development with safe roadways? I pushed for a pedestrian bridge with the River Park project. That was pulled out later by the city, but I got it put in. And I even got a letter from Glenn Adamick of New Atlanta Farming saying, you know what? I didn't agree with you on some of these things, but you did a really good job. You asked good questions. So when somebody like that comments to me that I've made an impact, I feel that people are listening, and that's how you pull people in. You will see at the back of the room, I have put out my initial piece here, a letter to you, the list of accomplishments. I've done a lot outside of the Planning Commission, attending many meetings that were not required of me. I went to the South Coast Air Quality Management District meeting, and as a result, you know, testifying along with Sandra, we got a change made just by going down there and doing that. So please look at this. I believe in responsibility, being proactive, and accountability. And I believe in creating a balance that works for all of us in this community. Thank you.